and today I have not one lens but two. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday and day 3 of my 7 lens reviews in 7 days. So I'm almost halfway there. I hope you've enjoyed them so far. Today we're going to be talking about the Leica Summicron 50mm f2. And I have not one example, but 2. So I own 2 different versions of the Leica Summicron 50mm f2. I own the modern Leica Summicron 50mm f2 Pre-APO. Some people also call this version 5. This one has the pull-out hood, but it doesn't lock, so it will push down. Unlike the 75mm Summicron APO lens where the hood you twist and it locks, this one doesn't lock. Obviously it's an f2 lens going to f16. In contrast, the silver lens is the vintage Leica Summicron 50mm f2 Dual Range, often known as DR. The Dual Range is a special lens and I'll come on to that as we go through this video. Okay, so first things first, price. How much does a Leica Summicron lens cost? I did my usual research before the video. You can get different versions of the Summicrons. Obviously I have 2, and I think there's probably at least 5 in total different versions of Leica Summicron 50mm f2 lens. One of them collapses, some of them are different kind of shape, some don't have the built-in hood. Because there's so many variations, the price does differ quite a lot when you're looking at use costs. The price seems to range from around £600, £700 through to £1,000. It can be less, it can be more than that range. Obviously this is a vintage lens, so you cannot buy the Dual Range new, but this lens is still current. So this lens new is just under £2,000. If you're hoping to see the Leica Summicron 50mm f2 APO lens in this video, I'm afraid I didn't have £6,000 spare to go and buy one new, or even £4,000 spare to go and buy one second hand. I had a look at some of the images online and the APO photos do look absolutely fantastic. So if I ever win the lottery, I don't actually do the lottery, so it's highly unlikely, but if I did and I had £4,000, then I would like to try shooting the Leica Summicron 50mm f2 APO because the pictures do look really special, and I'd be especially interested to shoot it on film cameras. Okay, in terms of weight, the modern Leica Summicron is lighter than the older version. This is quite a weighty lens, considering they're the same size roughly. The Leica Summicron 50mm f2 Pre-APO, which is still the current pre-spherical version which you can buy from looking online just before this video, weighs 240 grams compared to the vintage DR or Dual Range version which weighs 339 grams. Now that is the weight for just the lens alone, and you'll see what I mean by this as we continue. So in terms of size, the Dual Range version of the lens is very slightly larger. In terms of height, they both share the same 39 filter thread, which is kind of standard like a filter thread for most of the smaller lenses. To compare the Summicron against the Summilux for size, here is the Summilux and here's the Summicron. The Summicron is smaller and lighter and has a smaller filter thread. Characteristics of the Summicron from personal experience, I'd say it's sharp enough to use wide open for both film and digital. There's a slight vignetting wide open, and it flares more easily than the Summilux from my experience. And it seems to have like a more of a creamy background. I don't know how to less clinical, I'd say. So I always use the hood built in if I'm shooting in bright conditions, but it does flare more than the Summilux. The Leica Summicron balances really nicely on an M camera because it's smaller than the Summilux. There's recessed, and that's fully extended. And aperture clicks. That's the modern Summicron, and I'll share some examples. The second part of this video is on the Summicron Dual Range. This is a different lens to the modern version because it has a kind of additional feature which I really love. I'll show you, it's better to see it on a camera. Okay, if you're tempted by this lens, then listen up, because this lens won't work fully on all cameras. What do I mean by this? At the moment you can see the lens hopefully is at 1 meter. And it moves freely on the Leica M6 from 1 meter to infinity, which is what you'd expect from many old lenses. If you've ever used different old lenses, most of them work from 1 meter to infinity and not closer than 1 meter, because things like the Leica M3 was designed to only focus from 1 meter, closest distance anyway. So that's why the older lenses start at 1 meter. But this lens is special. If you buy these additional eyes or goggles, people call them, if you buy these additional goggles to go with the Summicron DR, you suddenly have 2 lenses in 1 lens. So firstly, you need to turn the lens till it goes to 1 meter. When your lens is set to 1 meter, what you need to do is pull the lens out and then turn it just past the 1 meter. Once it's over the small notch, then you can add the goggles. If you don't move the distance to it's kind of 0.9 meters, you cannot attach the goggles. So first set your distance to 0.9 meters, then the goggles should slide on top of the lens, like so. And now the lens will focus as close as 0.48 meters. So now with the goggles attached, it will focus from 0.48 to 0.88, I believe. That's what the thing says. Basically, it focuses from roughly half a meter to 1 meter maximum, with a not infinity with the goggles on. To take the goggles back off again, so you can focus to infinity, set the distance back to 0.9 meters, and then give it a wiggle and the goggles come off. To then go back to infinity, you now need to lift the lens back over the notch to where it says 1, like so, and then it'll move freely. So on a Leica film camera, you have full range of motion from 0.48 meters to infinity if you buy the lens with the goggles. If you're going to buy this lens on eBay, make sure you buy it with the goggles, otherwise you're only kind of getting half the functionality of the lens. And this is the important bit. If you're buying the lens to use on, say, a Leica M240, first of all, it won't even attach. So you need to set it, change the distance to 1 meter, and then it attaches, but then you have a problem. The problem is you cannot focus further than 1.2 meters. So there's no infinity focusing on a Leica Summicron DR lens on a Leica M240. I'm a portrait photographer, so I use the lens at or less than 1 meter. So I nearly always have it with goggles on. And with the goggles, it will focus closer than 1 meter. It just won't focus to infinity. So the goggles on the M240. We have full range of motion with the goggles on, just no infinity focusing. So take note, if you use a modern Leica M camera and you're tempted by this cool vintage Summicron lens, which is often the same price as a modern Summicron lens, but better built from how it feels, it will not focus to infinity on a modern Leica M camera, talking from using the Leica M240. If you use one of the mirrorless Leica cameras, such as the Leica CL that I use, you can see the previous review I did. The Summicron DR works with full range of motion on the Leica CL, and it's particularly nice with the close focusing with the goggles. I can share some example pictures using the Leica Summicron DR on the Leica CL body mirrorless camera. Which lens should you buy if you're looking to buy a Summicron non-APO? If you want full range of motion and a slightly lighter lens with hood, buy the modern version and you'll have full range of motion from 0.7 meters to infinity. If you want close focus ability, which is quite a special thing or a rare thing for Leica photographers, because most lenses focus to 0.7 meters closest. The Leica Summicron DR gives you something extra, but I would suggest only buying this if it's not your only lens. If you buy this and you use an M240, a modern digital Leica, you would need a second lens to do any photos where you want to shoot at infinity. So for example, if you've already got the Summilux and that does all your infinity work and you don't need to worry and you just want something to go for close-ups, then there's a second lens, the Summicron DR with goggles would be an excellent choice for close-up work. If you shoot only with film Leicas, then you can use either lens, and I would recommend getting the dual range if you only shoot film, because it's, as I say, a similar price and you get two lenses in one with the close focus feature. What are my thoughts on the Leica Summicron? I enjoyed using the Leica Summicron Pre-APO version and thought it was amazing until I bought the Leica Summilux 50mm f1.4 spherical. As soon as I bought this lens, I don't think I've hardly ever used this lens since. So the photos you're going to see as examples in this video were probably shot 5 years ago, maybe longer. I still use the Summicron DR because it does close focus, and that's quite a rare thing in the Leica world. But I've not used this lens for a long time. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's an amazing lens. It's still pretty much mint condition, other than a couple of tiny bits of paint loss on the hood, on the edges. It's a fine lens. It's just, for me, I prefer the Summilux, and then if I wanted something smaller than the Summilux, I also have the Summarit, which is the next size down, so it's smaller than a Summicron. So the poor Summicron is kind of stuck between my fast lens and my small lens. And so I've stopped using it completely. That is not to say that it is not amazing. It is definitely better balanced on a Leica M body than a Summilux. Size-wise, Leica Summicron 50 against Leica Summicron 75. So that's my overview of the Leica Summicron 50mm f2 lenses. If you found this useful, please drop me a like. If you have preference on whether you prefer the modern Summicron, the Summicron Dual Range, the even older Summicrons, or the APO, send me your favourites in the comment section. It'd be interesting to see which people like which version the most. I'm not sure which one's got the kind of biggest following. And if you want to receive notifications of when I release new videos, hit the subscribe button. As I say, I'm releasing daily videos this week. I'll probably won't be able to keep up this pace because I'll be like, ugh, by the end of the week. I've always done weekly videos, so I'm starting to build up a back catalogue of videos, so there's plenty to binge watch if ever you're bored. That's it for today, and see you tomorrow for the 4th lens review of the week.